What's going on, everybody? Noah Sanford here, hanging out on my Ranger right now. I wanted to give you guys a quick little review and first impression video of the Z-man Graph Shad that just came out. So let's jump right into it. Obviously, this bait is designed specifically for use with forward-facing sonar. A lot of the features and a lot of the design that went into this bait had that idea in mind. However, I could see this bait being very effective whether or not you have forward-facing sonar, or whether or not you have a boat at all, whether or not you're targeting bass or a different species. I could see big sunfish eating this. I could see crappie eating this bait. I could see even guys up north, muskie, walleye, pike, that kind of stuff. I could see basically any bigger predator fish is probably gonna eat this bait, because at the end of the day, all this bait is doing is mimicking a small bait fish, and big fish eat little fish. Jumping into some of the really cool features with the Graph Shad, like I said, this bait is specifically designed for use with forward-facing sonar, and the reason for that is because the designers went through a lot of work to make sure this bait had all of the key features that you're gonna want for use with forward-facing sonar. One of those that I want to talk about right now is the line through jig head design. So this bait is actually designed to have a line through, and you tie the bait at the bottom of the jig head. The reason I think this is so crucial for use with forward-facing sonar is because unlike your traditional ball head or darter head, this bait is actually going to accomplish a much better action in the water, and you know that you're gonna have the confidence that it's gonna be working correctly when it's down in the water and you can't see it. The cool thing with the line through design that Z-man went ahead and did with this bait is that once your line goes through the top of that jig head and you tie it down to the bottom, it's gonna always ensure that your bait is staying perfectly horizontal in the water column. So that way when you're jigging that and you're working it down in the water, you're gonna know that that bait is staying nice and horizontal, and it's not getting all that funky action up and down, or the bait's not gonna be falling down like this. You're gonna make sure, and you're gonna have that confidence mentally that that bait is going to be working correctly, and it's gonna be staying horizontal the way that you want it to look. The next super cool thing I like with the Graph Shad so far is that it has an air cavity actually built into the plastic mold of the bait. So when you get these baits, they made it to where there's a little air pocket kind of like right in this area. And so what that actually does is give you a better return on your forward-facing sonar. So basically what that means, if you don't understand what I'm saying, is you're gonna be able to see that bait better on your screen at further distances. That air pocket is going to allow your transducer to pick up that bait at a further distance and give it a brighter return on your screen. The reason that's important is because a lot of the time you're gonna be fishing this bait, how it's intended to be used, is with forward-facing sonar. So if you can't see your bait, there's no point in it at all. You might be thinking to yourself, wow, why does this bait only come with one jig head and two plastics? Well, the reason for that is because you really don't need more than that. This bait is not designed to be fished, for the most part, in areas with a lot of cover or things that you can get snagged on. It's mostly designed for that more open water. And the reason that they only give you two plastics and one jig head is because one, you're probably not gonna break off very much. And two, these Elaztech plastics last literally forever, guys. I've had other Z-man products in the past, some of their worms, their Ned rigs, that kind of stuff. And Elaztech, for those of you who might not know, is the kind of plastic that not only one lasts forever, but is super stretchy. So check this out, guys. You see how much stretch is in that bait? You could literally stretch this thing so hard and you can't even break it. I mean, I would have to pull really hard to break that plastic. Very stretchy plastic, and what that does is allow the maximum longevity with the plastic. So I kid you not, guys, on the other Z-man products I've literally caught dozens and dozens of fish. Probably if I never lost one, you could catch 100 fish on one of these baits. Another cool feature with the Z-man Graph Shad is the hook that they put on it. So they add a medium wire 3/0 black nickel sickle shaped hook. You guys can see that the shape is a super nasty sickle hook. I've always been a fan of sickle hooks, whether it's for my jigs, my smaller finesse applications. I just like them because it seems that compared to your traditional rounded hook bend, that the sickle hook seems to pin more fish, and once you get them hooked, it seems to keep them hooked. With that sharp angle on there, once you penetrate that hook through the fish's mouth, it's almost impossible for them to throw that bait because of the angle that that hook wire has. Moving on to the actual tail action for this bait, probably one of the things you guys are really interested in, and one of the big selling points when it comes to this bait, is it has a split tail design. But unlike your traditional design, let's say on something like a Zoom Fluke, where the tails are split horizontally, the tails on the Graph Shad are actually split vertically. So what that means is you're going down the bait, the tail, instead of splitting this way, it actually splits up and down. The bottom portion of the tail is gonna be much thicker plastic, and it's also gonna be a little bit wider than the top part of the tail. The top part is almost like a little fin going on the top. So not only is that gonna accomplish incredible up and down quivering action, but you're also gonna get a little bit more side to side action as well. I think this is super crucial when it comes to those highly pressured reservoirs or those lakes, especially like where I'm located here in Southern Nevada, Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, that have extremely clear water. I mean, there's days out here on my reservoirs where you can see the bottom on a calm day in 35 feet of water. And so that ultra realistic, lifelike action is going to be the make or break when it comes to these highly pressured fish who see tons of baits every single day. I think the Z-man Graph Shad is just gonna give you that much more of an advantage over something like your traditional old school style baits. Offered in a variety of weights and colors, the Graph Shad is really one of those baits that you can fine tune for yourself depending on how you like to fish. So they offer it in a 3/16, 1/4, and a 3/8 ounce head weight option. And so I think that's really cool because if you're fishing in that shallower water, most guys are gonna tend to lean towards the 3/16. Anything between kind of 15 and 25, most guys are probably gonna pick the 1/4 ounce. And then when you're fishing in 30 feet plus, I would probably go for the 3/8 ounce. So they really cover all of your bases when it comes to how heavy you're gonna want that jig head. Although it's not a tungsten head, it's a very, very realistic, high quality lead head that they put on this bait. Another thing too is the color option. So I think this bait is offered in over 10 different color patterns. Some of the most popular ones out there on the market for fishermen all across the country, whether you're in the Midwest, West Coast, North, South, East Coast, depending on where you're at, they offer this in a bunch of different shad type colors that you can really fine tune and match the hatch for your specific lake, and you can really get the right color you want, or just get a handful of them and experiment with them and see which one works best for your specific body of water. All right guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Graph Shad from Z-man, check it out. I've got a link in the description below where you guys can go and purchase this bait directly, see all the different color options. Go ahead and click that description if you want to check out these baits for yourself. My name is Noah Sanford. We'll see you guys out on the water.